Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, March 18th, 2014. This is Talk to Me Tuesday number 128. Few things to show, so we'll get started. First off, let's talk socks. Last week I mentioned in my video that I had set a goal for myself to try and complete all the socks that were intended for Christmas by the end of the weekend. I had told myself that I was not going to cast on anything else until these socks were completed. Did I do it by the end of the weekend? Not a chance. I actually didn't finish the socks until today. By 3 o'clock this afternoon, they were 100% complete, ends woven in, and ready to go. All that's left now is to take pictures and give them to their intended recipients. So I'm going to show you those real quick now. First off, socks for my oldest one, my daughter, my middle son, my youngest son, and my youngest son's fiance. 5 pairs of socks, 100% complete, all set and ready to go. I will take pictures later, and then they can go to who they're supposed to go to, and I don't have to see them again. I am really glad these are done. I was about ready to rip my hair out of my head because I was like, I was waiting to have sock nightmares. So, when am I casting on my next pair of socks? Probably tomorrow. I did mention that we have a sock-along going on in the TGIF Ravelry group. And my first pair of socks is actually going to be done using Caron Simply Soft. It is a light worsted weight yarn. I have a couple pairs of socks I've done using that yarn. And the only reason I am choosing a heavier weight yarn is because I will be trying a new heel. It's called the Fish Lips Kiss heel. It is a pay-for pattern on Ravelry. It costs $1 for it. I will put a link in the description below if you're interested. But because I'm going to be trying out a new heel, I decided to go with the heavier weight yarn just to get a feel for it, see how it's done. And then my next pair, of course, will be done using regular sock weight yarn. So you will be seeing that, but like I said, probably won't be casting that on until maybe tomorrow, because I'm socked out right now, to be honest. I did cast one thing on just to, kind of take a break, and when I was sitting in my room later at night watching some videos, and it's what's called the linen stitch. Very basic, very easy stitch. This is what it looks like on one side, and this is what it looks like on the other. I don't know how well you're seeing that. Hopefully you're seeing it well enough. I just grabbed some yarn, and I grabbed a pair of needles, and once this is done, that's it. I'm done working on it. It's just something when I'm watching videos in my room at night before I head off to bed that I do a couple rounds on, and that's it. I will probably just use it for like holding a hot plate or something. I don't know. Nothing major. But just to try something out that's new and different. Next up, I plan on casting on a new shawl. It is called the Hogwarts Express. It's a very beautiful shawl. It is done in garter stitch, and then along the bottom edge of the shawl, it's all owls. So that'll be interesting. I will be using the Mary Maxim Step Above sock yarn in the color Forest Glen. And this is it. It's got pretty greens and blues and purples mixed in. And my personal opinion of some magical colors, this works really well. So you will be seeing progress on that, hopefully next week. We'll see. I'm possibly going to cast on this evening, but I'm not sure yet. I haven't made that decision. So keep your eyes out for that if you're interested. And once again, link in the description if you want to go check out and see what the pattern looks like. So next up is paper piecing. Took a break Sunday evening. I have set a goal that I will be doing 2 blocks a week from the blocks I chose out of the 365 Foundation Quilt Blocks book. I did notice, and looking, I already had 1 block I was going to be working on, but I was looking through to find the second block, and I noticed that 2 of the blocks were exactly the same. Different names, different colors, exact same block. The first one I had chosen was Squares and Diamonds. The second one I had chosen was Gift Package. Well, when I started looking, I'm like, I'm not going to do two of the same exact blocks. Now, I had a dilemma before that. I had chosen 29 blocks, and I was trying to figure out where I was going to come up with a 30th. Well, now I don't have to, because two blocks being the same, not happening. So now I'm down to 28 blocks. But I did do two more. So the first one I did was called the Skewed Log Cabin, and that's this. And I just took stripy, funky looking fabrics and put them together. And I kind of like the way it came out. It's very light. A lot of my blocks have been darker in color. This is really light in color. And then the second one I did is called the Long Rosebud. So there's that one. And this is actually supposed to be green where the brown is, but I wanted it to look like it was coming up from the earth. So, two more blocks to add to my collection. I now have 8 blocks completed. And I will do 2 more for next week. So, each week, 2 blocks at least. If I do more, I do more. But it's not anything that I'm going to pressure myself with. So, at least 2 a week though. The only other thing I did with paper piecing, Miss Oaf and Jen did a wonderful tutorial on her TTMT video showing how she did her binding on her quilts. And I decided that I wanted to try it because I've never done a proper binding on a quilt. I was asked by somebody, because I mentioned the way I used to do my binding, I did have someone inquire about a possible tutorial. My camera is not the type that I can do tutorials like that with, so I'm sorry to say there won't be one coming. Not to mention, I couldn't even tell you how I used to do the corners. I used to just fudge them. So, the last time I did a binding like that was back when my oldest one was a baby, and that was over 20 years ago. So, yeah. Sorry about that. But I did decide that I was going to try the binding that she did. So, I took one of her patterns for one of her blocks. It was called the Wonky Log Cabin. I made the block up. I took a piece of batting and I sandwiched it between some backing fabric. Now, I have never done any fancy stitching on my quilts. It was always just stitch in the ditch, basic, nothing fancy. Well, I decided I was just going to do a little something crazy. And I sat down, I started in one corner and I just kind of did this little wavy thing that went around the edge and then just worked its way into the center. Like I said, nothing fancy, just having fun. Let's put it that way. And then I squared it off and I did the binding. Now, I couldn't finish my binding the way she did. I could not do the mitered corner on the mitered stitch or whatever on the binding to join the two ends. I do realize I could have done that if I had started closer to the corner and finished closer to the corner, but that's okay. I just did a straight stitch across to join the two pieces, and that was it. And on this, you can't even see it because the striping on the back, on the material I used, blends. So if you're ready for a good laugh, you're more than welcome to, because I did. Here is my first attempt at anything other than just straight work. This is it, folks. This is the Wonky Log Cabin, and like I said, I started in a corner and I just did this wavy all the way around and just kind of worked its way into the center from there. You can see it on the back even better. Yes, I did not decide to match my fabric or my yarn to my fabric. I just used what was in the machine for the fun of it. And this is how you learn. You just practice and have fun. I like the way it came out. I think the binding was a little thick for this. I will cut the size of the binding down. I did go with the 2.5-inch binding that she did. I will probably cut it down by probably about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, something like that. But there it is. There's my first attempt at doing anything more than stitching in the ditch and doing a proper binding. And you can tell it is off, but that's okay. I don't care. Practice makes perfect. So over time, you'll probably be seeing more of these funky little things cropping up. And it is my intention to hold off on the original block for March until I'm better at the binding, so that when I do that one, it looks better than this. So, Other than that, I don't have anything else to show. I don't want this video to be any longer than it already is. So, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to say that I look forward to watching everyone's videos. I hope you all have a wonderfully crafty week and a wonderfully crafty weekend. As for me, I'm done with socks for today. I am going to go sit down and relax and probably do nothing until it's time to cook dinner. As for you, it's good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, whatever it is. I really do hope it's a great one. And I'll see y'all next week. Bye. Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, March 18th, 2014. This is Talk to Me Tuesday, number 128. Got a few things to show, so we'll get started. First off, let's talk socks. Last week I mentioned in my videos that I had set a goal. My videos. I only did one last week, believe it or not, but I guess we've got a couple going, so let's... Hey everyone, it is Tuesday.